The snow bunting is a small white Arctic songbird that is most typically observed in the winter, in large open areas of snow such as farm fields and prairies. This species is most typically seen in its wintering territory, in flocks that can range from the dozens to the thousands, seeking seeds to sustain them till they return to their breeding territories in spring. It's mid-February and I'm on a quiet dirt road in Haldimand County, Ontario, at a location where these birds are typically banded for scientific studies. There may not be much song this time of year from this species, but if you listen carefully, there are quite a few bubbly vocalizations. My name is Rob, and this is Songbirding. So I'm on Duxbury Road, Haldimand County. There's some flocks of snow buntings here. So I got about 7 of them on the wire, hydro wire here, and a small flock around looks to be a feeding station, so this is probably from the Snow Bunting Network who's doing banding in this area. They've set out some feed so they can trap the birds, put bands on them and release them. And they band them so they can track where they're going. Also some horned larks here too. They seem to be fairly active eating. They're not very talkative. Oh, there we go. It's a flock on the move. There we go. There's the flock on the move. 200 to 300, maybe 400 snow buntings. Look at this rattle sound they make. One of their calls. There's also this see-you call that is the horned larks. They're on the move again. Oh, another flock is joining. Another 100 or so. So snow buntings fly down from the Arctic each winter. They tend to stay in areas with lots of snow though. They prefer the snow. I know from having participated in some of the banding here before that they are so tolerant to the cold that they actually overheat if they get into temperatures above, say, 10 to 15 degrees. Like around 20 degrees Celsius, they go into shock. Something like that. So they are very much bred for the cold. In fact, they like to at night sleep inside the snow, apparently. They burrow into the snow and stay as a group inside the snow. There's a hornlark. That's sea call. Another one. It's a sheep nearby in a barn. Oh, here is a common red bull. Didn't expect that. More crows. Actually, a flock of about 60 crows near here. What I'm seeing. In a field about one farm over from here. So this area, I'm in Haldimand County. It is mostly farm area. There are some forested spots, but not much urban area. Pretty much a grid pattern of roads with lots of farms, mostly flat. There's some snow bunting calls. So this is their wintering territory. Here's one. A lot of rattling. So I don't think I'm going to hear any of them sing, because they're not on breeding territory, they're on wintering territory. And yeah, they come south not to avoid the snow, but to actually find snow where there's also seed. So you look for them in mostly flat fields. Can be some hills though too, but they like flat because they can see all around them. And the flock can avoid predators. But you can also find them on roadsides because they like the road salts. And they come in flocks that can be, small, 20, 30, but usually I find the average flock 200 to 300 usually. But they can get up to thousands in a flock. But they prefer fields that are going to have lots of seeds for them to dig up. You're not going to find them in like cash crop fields. Be more like wildflower fields that have run wild and let's say wheat, oats, those kinds of things, barley. They do like corn, but cornfields, not necessarily, because usually there's not much actual corn left after harvest. But I'm presuming they're probably feeding on some corn that was left for them here. I'm not going to get close enough to see. Yeah, finding them often is a case of driving around in the countryside like this. Oh, there's a couple of them on the road right in front of me here. I don't have my binoculars with me because I'm using my directional mic. think those are horned larks in front of me. It's got at least one curious snow bunting coming closer to me, but it's not saying anything. Okay, flock just got spooked or something. Flying up and around. Lots of little buzz sounds. So horned larks like to mix in with them, although they're not great at flying in pattern with them. There's a really buzzy one. Lapland longspurs also hanging out with them. They're a little more uncommon around here, and I'm not hearing any. This one's really buzzing well. Oh, he's joining the flock. So my little feeding station is empty right now. So I'm going to continue up the road a bit. I see a bunch hanging out in I think it's a pine tree. So yeah, they do, from time to time, perch somewhere. They're not averse to it, they just don't do it very often. Same with the horned larks. Oh. Flock going overhead. Small group of 7. Looks like they're going to join the other flock in the tree, maybe? No, they're flying by. Oh, going to a different tree, which is also nearby. Deciduous tree with no leaves. Oh, there are red poles mixed in. Interesting. So it's a choo-choo. A choo-choo, whatever you want to call it. Call is the red poles mixed in. But yeah, all this bubbly, rattly sounds are the snow buntings. There's a few snow buntings still sitting in the tree up there. Some crows around. You might be able to hear some barnyard animals too. For the most part, they seem to be just resting in the tree. Making a lot of bubbly sounds. Oh, we're getting a brief bit of sunlight. wonder if the sun will inspire any of them to sing. Here we go. A few of them flying over, heading back to the feeding station. I'm gonna head back that way. So yeah, finding snow buntings on your own probably helps to check eBird and things like that to see what some common spots are for them. But if you're looking around and you've got access to a car, you're probably going to need access to a car for this. Generally, places that have snow buntings are out of the reach of public transit. Maybe not everywhere, but most places. But you're going to want probably to have a second person with you. So one person drives, the other person looks for the birds. But if you're on your own driving like I was today, they can be pretty obvious when they're alongside the road, or if you just know locations like I do, where they pretty much return to every year. Of course, it's not always 100% consistent because farmers change their crops. There we go. A little more on the move again. Oh, another 50 or 60 just came in. Yeah, so as crop rotations happen, that can change where your snow buntings are going. A couple of years ago it was discovered that at least the ones in southern Ontario are pretty much constantly in migration. Oh, on the move again. So they're pretty much constantly in migration in the sense that they can, in a given week, move around by tens or even maybe hundreds of miles, depending on how much effort they put into it. But I'm hearing a red poll again. But they found on several that were banded with GPS trackers that, yeah, they were going pretty far. Way farther than people thought on a day-to-day basis. You know, one day they might stay one place for a bit, get some food, but then the next day they might fly 40 miles to a completely different county and feed there, and then maybe they'll return back to where they were first tagged later. It just, they move around a lot. They move around a lot and a lot further than people expected them to in the winter. So they are probably, for the lack of a better term, nomadic come winter. So while this is like snow bunting wintering territory here, the actual flock that's here may not be the same throughout the winter. It may just be different flocks coming in. I don't know that they know whether the flocks split up, stay together as one group, merge, etc. Be nice if there was longspur here. I could pick them out for sounds, but I don't think there are. So I've got maybe 50 to 70 of them in front of me right now. The larger flock has gone somewhere else. Group of 300 to 400. Here comes a few more coming in. So they're not too unfriendly to people. This group is I want to say 40, 50 feet away. They're not going to let me get much closer than this, though, I don't think. Oh, here comes another 70 or so. Very quietly flying in. Oh. Thought I was hearing a raven, but no. Oh, there is red poles. Guess a couple are mixing in with the snow buntings. Times of year we get them here is between late October to probably mid to late March at the latest. Can't imagine them staying till April unless it stays really cold. So another place if you do want to catch some and see them but maybe not see them feeding is along lake shores during migration time. Around here you can go to lake shore of Lake Ontario during migration and they'll follow the shore when they're migrating. You'll get to hear them. You can listen for this rattle sound. This bubbly rattle. Also I find later in February into March, I'm always hearing horned larks flying overhead. They migrate as well during that time. Usually solo or a couple birds at a time though, but their little Sioux kind of call can be heard during migration, and that could be anywhere. That doesn't have to be along the shoreline. Got some roosters in the background. Kind of hoping the larger snow bunting flock would come back. It looks like I just have this about maybe 100 or so to 130, 140. So if you're ever doing Christmas bird count and you've got a bunch of snow buntings and you need to count them, my trick for it is grab your camera, wait until a time when most of them are in flight, get a photograph with them all in frame, doesn't matter how small they are, and later on do some counting. Pull up the photo on your computer. You can count one by one. I mean, do it a couple times and average it out, or just do it in groups of 10s or something, and then maybe groups of 50s. It depends on how many, but as long as you can get dots to represent each bird, you can make pretty decent counts of them that way. So if you're ever in a rush at Christmas bird count and the flocks move fast, it's hard to estimate them. Oh, here comes the flock. Maybe another 100 or so. Another dozen. Up to a couple hundred here, at least. 200 to 300. There's definitely a red pool or two in here. Although there's also some other calls that are similar to redpoll, but it isn't redpoll. Little cheat sounds are making. Ooh, something spooked him. So during this time of year, the snow buntings, while predominantly white, have a lot of brown and a little bit of black on them. But they start more brownish at the beginning of the winter, and it fades out more and more as it goes through the winter, as the feathers wear down. And then by the time they're back on territory in the Arctic, which that would be neat if someday I could record that, but that'll be a while. By the time they're back up there, they are really just black and white at that point. They're out flying again. A couple of them are landing on the pole up here. A crow in the background. And a rooster crowing in the background too. There's one buzzing right in front of me. Up on a wire. That's the snow bunting. Little pute. And some buzzes. There's a flock of, I don't know, 70 or so crows nearby here too. I often find they love this road as well. I don't know why. I mean, I would understand if they were taking over the snow bunting feeding station, but they're not. Okay, a bunch of them are landing on the wire now. As you can hear in the background, there's a somewhat busy road here as well. To do these recordings, I need to find a quiet back road that has snow bunting, so this is about the best I can do right now. This is a dirt road, so not much traffic. I think I've been here maybe half an hour now. One truck, that was it. Oh, here comes another flock. Over my head. Oh, this is a big one. think I've got 400 here again. I've got one snow bunting, now 3, 4, 5 on the road, eating road salts presumably, or maybe just some pebbles. They use it to grind up their food in their pouches. So sometimes these kinds of birds will, a whole bunch of them come on the road now. They're all deciding it's time to get some salts and pebbles. Oh. That poof sound was them taking off from there. They grab food into this kind of front pouch they have. It's called the crop. That's where they store a lot of the food that they quote unquote eat. You want to store it there for breaking it down and for eating it later. So they'll regurgitate and swallow it later. But when it sits in the crop, I know other birds do this. I presume snow buntings also do this. That they can use that as a place to grind the food up as a replacement for chewing. So they need a pebble or two in there to do it. Also, like all animals, they like salt in their diet, so road salts are also useful. So I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 43 snow buntings on a wire here. As you can hear, they're somewhat conversational. But I doubt you would think this is 43 birds if you're listening to this. You'd probably think it's 4 or 5. They don't all talk. About 5 decide to leave. Now we're down to about 11 birds on the wire. Here's another flock of about 12. Alright. While I'm certain the larger flock will be back soon, I think I'll wrap it up here with this couple dozen or so birds on the wire and
the feeding station.
Songbirding on Territory was recorded, engineered, narrated, and created by me, Rob Porter, with cover art and logo design by Lauren Helton and Creative Commons music from REW.